Alright, so in the not too distant future, we are going to get a Hulk Hogan movie as told by Netflix, and of course, Hulk Hogan himself. Now somehow, those words that have just come out of my mouth are a fact. Now quite how you decide who to include in a Hulk Hogan story, or more to the point who you decide to leave out, is beyond me entirely. Like, the guy has been an icon in wrestling, in cinema, in life in general for decades, so think of all the people whose paths he'll have crossed, think of all the people who'll have contributed. However, there are some names from Hogan's past who categorically absolutely have to be included in this movie, so we thought we'd do an article about that. Then we thought we'd illustrate the article with some made up images, and those images popped us all so hard here at What Culture, we decided we should do a video on it as well. So yes, my name is Adam Cleary. Simon Gallagher has been at the Photoshops again, and this is us dreamcasting the Netflix Hulk Hogan movie. Enjoy. Number 13, Chris Hemsworth, Hulk Hogan. Okay, so just getting this one out of the way, we already know the MCU's Thor will be playing the younger version of Hulk Hogan in this movie. Is he well cast? Yes, I suppose he is. He's got the requisite stature, he's got the screen presence, he's got the physique, it sort of works. Now, whether he'll be up to the wrestling moves he'll be required to perform is another matter entirely, but he does have a lot of time to prepare for this role, and who knows, they might just bring in a stunt double for all the wrestling stuff. But what I will say, the most important thing here is that Chris Hemsworth definitely looks like Hulk Hogan thinks Hulk Hogan looks. So, yeah. Number 12, Bradley Cooper, Vince McMahon. Now, funny story, Bradley Cooper has been attached to play Vince McMahon in a movie for a number of years now, thanks to the hit motion picture I'm sure we'll see one day, Pandemonium, but that's gone very quiet of late. Interestingly though, the last major update we got on this was a big character breakdown from that hashtag show, and if you just look at that, the crossover between the Vince McMahon story and any sort of Hulkamania story is big, so could it be that they're one and the same project? Either way, Cooper definitely has it in him to portray both McMahon's charisma and his charm, but also that slightly darker edge. Basically, this needs to be a character that is sympathetic, yes, but also incredibly, undeniably, unaccountably insane and horny. Number 11, Ed O'Neill, Freddie Blassie. To quote Hulk Hogan himself, classy Freddie Blassie played a pivotal role in, and these are his words, bringing the young Hulkster up to speed and on to greatness, brother. So, I mean, without him showing the Hulkster the ways of the dark side in his first year, who knows where Hulkamania would be today, brother. Sorry. Whoever's playing Blassie has to be able to capture that quintessential heel essence, but also be far more likeable for the non-gimmick part of the story. And there is nobody better on God's green earth for that kind of thing than Ed O'Neill, basically because TV's Al Bundy is one of the great sitcom heels. I mean, yes, you could have like John Voight or someone, I suppose, but there's just that twinkle in Ed O'Neill's eye, isn't there? He just looks like him as well. Number 10, Joe Manganiello, Macho Man Randy Savage. You cannot tell the story of Hulk Hogan without Macho Man Randy Savage playing a really, really big part. Well, I mean, you can, but it would be shit. Not only does Magic Mike star Joe Manganiello, I've never actually heard it out loud, I've just realised. Manganiello, we'll go with that. Not only does he have the stature and the presence to carry off this kind of role, but he's also got an amazing Randy Savage impression in his locker. Please observe.
Yeah, Rolls Royce.
I'm very curious.
Top of the line.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm reading yesterday's newspaper.
Eminently watchable, sizable presence, really, really buff, can do an impression of the character, has already shared a ring with Hulk Hogan. Easy one, this. Number 9, Paul Giamatti, Mean Gene Okerlund. Without Gene Okerlund, Hulkamania would have never... Well, it just would have never, would it? It would have never anything. He was that important to the whole thing. Let me tell you something, Mean Gene, etc., etc. In terms of characterization in this film, though, Okerlund needs to be something of a foil for Hulk Hogan. Like, he has to play off him, he has to be able to spar with him, but he also has to be able to poke fun at both himself and Hogan when required. That's not easy. In fact, to a certain extent, a lot of the success of this film will depend on who they get to go along with Hogan in all of these different bits, and Okerlund is perhaps as important as anybody else, and you need somebody with genuine acting chops, so step forward the chameleon-like Paul Giamatti. He could do absolutely anything, and that's one of my favourite pictures we've done, because it's absurd. Number 8, The Miz, Bob Backlund. Now, hear me out on this one. He might only be known in acting circles for those, how do I describe the Marine films? They're definitely films, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. He might only be known for that in acting circles, but The Miz has everything required to pull off Bob Backlund. Not pull him off, like play him. Not only is he an actual wrestler, which would fit the film's sense of immersion and allow him to work the whole wild Samoan scene where Hogan comes to his rescue, but he's brilliant on the mic. Like, can you imagine him doing that promo where Backlund announced Hogan's face turn? Plus, and this is absolutely crucial, it's not just about how he portrays him in the ring, how he portrays the character of Bob Backlund, it's about being able to portray the man as well. And The Miz knows all about what goes on behind the curtain and how it differs from in front of the ring, so works for me, it's perfect. Bit of prosthetics. Job's good. Number 7, Farshad Farhat, the Iron Sheik. Now yes, while Rusev has said he does want the role and there was a wave of online support for that, not least of all from me, the casting of the Iron Sheik requires 2 things. First of all, a racially sensitive casting given the subject matter of the film, and 2, someone who can actually act. No offense, Ruru. It's actually a shame that the Iron Sheik is too old to play himself in this, because if anybody's ever going to get that gimmick down, it's literally only him forever, in my opinion. But unless Netflix want to spunk loads of money up the wall on that whole de-aging thing, let's just recast him. Iranian-American actor Farshad Farhat, who was brilliant, if you remember, in a small but important role opposite Ben Affleck in Argo, would be perfect for this. He's got the look, he fits the part, and he's like a relatively unknown person as well, so it's good fits the budget as well, you get. Number 6, Rusev. Bill Dixon. Yeah, alright, let's give Rusev something to do. Alright, so the big lad has already said he would happily play any role offered to him in this film, but the problem with that is that he's Rusev, and he's very recognisable, and thus incredibly distracting. Like, his exact words were, "I can play everybody from the Iron Sheik to Sergeant Slaughter to Big Boss Man, Vader, and Nikolai Volkov." He tweeted that, but no Rusev. No, they are big parts. No, bad. So instead, let's let Rusev play Bill Dixon, because that's a nice, small little part, but also quite an important one, because his match against Hogan in '83 marked his return from doing the Rocky film, I think, and as well as that big psychological change in how WWE was booking his stars. Plus, like I said at the start of the video, the images, man, tell me you don't want to see Rusev with that haircut. Number 5, Alison Brie, Miss Elizabeth. There's got to be a focus on the mega powers in all of this somewhere, hasn't there? Like, it was just such an important thing for Hogan and for wrestling in general. Sworn enemies they were up until 1987, then they became a team, and then they imploded, and it was great, and we all loved it. At the very heart of that whole story, though, was Miss Elizabeth. At the time, Savage's real-life wife. She was at the focal point of them all blowing up, and it was just, who else? Who else but Alison Brie should get that role? Yes, her from Glow. A, she already has loads of wrestling training from that show, and B, she's just a really, really good actress with mainstream crossover appeal, and plus she even looks like her. I mean, it's not actually there. It gets put in afterwards, but I've seen all the images already, so yeah, it just does. Moving on. Number 4, Terry Crews, Tom Lister Jr. Thing is, right, Hulkamania isn't just about what he was doing in the ring, was it? He was a big cross-promotional star, was Hogan, and his appearance in Rocky 3 kicked off this big meteoric rise to the top. There's actually an argument you should have Sylvester Stallone in this film, but maybe it's better to start it after he's already a big star. I don't know, anyway. And if Hogan wants to tell us the whole story of Hulkamania, then he has to tell us about the things that didn't quite work out as well, including, oh, I don't know, just off the top of my head, No Holds Barred, when WWE tried to leverage his movie star status into a successful movie. He starred in that opposite Tom Lister Jr. Now, that saw Lister himself involved in WWE storylines as they attempted to build up excitement for the movie, and who else could pull off Zeus, that was the name of his character's physique, better than your pal and mine, the nicest man in the world, Terry goddamn Crews. I know they're not there, but I still keep laughing about them. Number 3, Paul Heyman, Gorilla Monsoon. In Bradley Cooper's Pandemonium, which we've already discussed, Gorilla Monsoon is supposed to have a very, very big role, seeing as he did basically train Hulk Hogan into becoming a star and help Vince make the success out of the WWE. So if I'm allowed, we just used Cooper for the purposes of this video. I'm just gonna pull that little plot thread with it as well. Who has the requisite industry knowledge to play Gorilla Monsoon? Who has the dramatic delivery to play Gorilla Monsoon? Paul Heyman. Why waste time getting an actor in and having to teach him to know everything he needs to know about the business when Paul Heyman is already one of the most knowledgeable men in the entire world when it comes to wrestling? Who else can play the duality of Gorilla Monsoon better than he could? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the whole get Paul Heyman to do it because an actor would need to learn too much thing, that's the plot to Armageddon, isn't it? I'm just doing that for this. Worlds collide. Number 2, Marc Maron, Jimmy Hart. Having already proved himself more than adept with another Netflix wrestling property in Glow, Marc Maron needs to do what all independent contractors aspire to do, and that's finally make the step up to WWE. Who wrote this? And luckily for him, there is a role in this that not only suits his acting style, but suits perfectly how he looks. If there is a better person on the planet to play Jimmy Hart than this, I have never seen them. They're not an actor currently working. Now, whether the story will run all the way up to Hogan leaving WWE in 1993, it would still be very interesting to have them do something on his arrival in WCW in 1994, if for no other reason than that parade was goddamn poetry. It was art. It needs to be put in a vault and kept forever. Number 1, The Big Show, Andre the Giant. I mean, who else are you actually going to get to do this? Even WCW billed The Big Show as the descendant of Andre the Giant, such was the size and the vague similarity, so you've got to cast him for this. In fact, if you need any further proof of this, the same brainchild behind the Hulk Hogan movie, that's Hulk Hogan, was the same person who came up with the familial link between the Big Show and Andre the Giant. He said, Big Show, it was very awkward because Hogan and Bischoff came up with this idea, and that's why Hogan latched onto me right away. So, yeah, there you go. Body slam heard around the world. Chris Hemsworth on The Big Show. I would watch that film a million times. And given that Hogan is in charge of story consultation, i.e. it's all just going to be how he remembers it and not how it might actually have happened, that body slam, which was the first time that ever happened according to Hogan, even though it wasn't, I've literally done a video on this, will be the focal point of that story because, well, it meant a lot to him. So yes, there you go, that is us dreamcasting the Hulk Hogan Netflix movie using the worst photoshops we could physically bring ourselves to show you. Hope you enjoyed them as much as we did. Anyway, let us know your suggestions in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. In the meantime, though, thank you very much for watching. Have, of course, been Adam Cleary, a man who wouldn't even get into his own biopic, he suspects. I'll see you soon. Mwah.